Welcome to part 3 of my How to Reach Legend in Competitive guide. This is Tommy, also known as TTao, and today we're going to cover one of my favorite topics, team fighting and outsmarting your enemy. This topic is incredibly complex, so much so that I get overloaded with information during a match if I don't simplify in some way. So today I will be sharing for the first time my own TeamAdvantage model that I use for the competitive playlists. We are going to cover my TeamAdvantage model, Loadout Scouting, win conditions like slaying out, securing heavy, life advantage, and zone control, team communication, my flanking guide, and unique and specific tactics in high-level comp plays. First is my TeamAdvantage model. Most matches feel like 3 solo players versus 3 solo players, and everybody's goal is to slay out. However, a little teamwork can go a long way. Even skilled players will lose gunfights if they are constantly outnumbered. This is my personal mental model to approaching a fight in competitive. If you are ever confused about when is the best moment to play aggressively, or the moment to retreat and play passively, this model will make the best plays crystal clear. Some assumptions for this model is that the Guardians are at equalish skill levels. If you have one enemy Guardian that is doing 10.0 KD, this model is not going to work. Same applies if you are absolutely slaying out. You can play aggressive balls to the walls if no one on the enemy team can counter you. Skill-based matchmaking is still sort of hit or miss for me personally. I still have close games, so this model still works for me even in high-level comp. Here's how I weigh the individual pieces. Guardians are +1, Supers are +1, Heavy ammo is +1.1, Range advantage is +0.5, the element of surprise is +0.5. The TeamAdvantage scale is passive to aggressive, less advantage to more advantage. If you had the team advantage, play aggressive. If they had the team advantage, your goal is to back up and try to secure some team advantage. If unable to back up, then go for a trade. Here are some examples. 2 of you are chasing one enemy Guardian. Your teammate calls out that there are 2 enemy Guardians on the other side of the map. You know it's a 2v1 situation. Should you play aggressive? Fairly easy answer. What if it's a 2v1 and they have range advantage? Example, you and your teammate have hand cannons while they have a pulse rifle and you're about 40 meters apart. Still play aggressive. Chances are your team will come out on top even though they have the range advantage. Now, what if they have their super and you two don't? Well, I would say that the engagement is going to go 50-50. Even though you outnumber your opponent, it's possible that you two go really aggressively in and they pop their super like a golden gun and you might both die or you might kill them. Who knows? It's really a 50-50 and depends on the skill level of the players. What this model also does is help you focus on the objective and play smart. Let's say you are fighting a 3v3 and they downed one of your teammates. It's now a 2v3. Yeah, you can rush in, make some big plays, but more times than not, a 2v3 ends with the 2 dying. Maybe one of you trade for a kill. A smarter play, in my opinion, will be to back up and rendezvous with your respawn teammate so that you come back into a 3v3. Again, the model assumes a similar level of skill for the fight. If you have a blueberry that's constantly rushing with a shotgun into 2 snipers hard scoping a lane, this model does not work. What's important here is that this model helps you decide what to do next and what is the most advantageous play for your team in the long run. For example, chasing as a team after someone who's cornered for a kill is fine, but if it allows the enemy team to secure heavy, probably not. Let's say your teammate panicked supers and was able to secure a kill. Well, if the enemy team had no lives left and now they are down a guardian, maybe. But it was probably an even trade in the long run, because in the next fight you'll have one less super. What do you want to think about is what plays to make. If your team uses a super to get a kill and then secure heavy, awesome play. If your teammate uses a shutdown super like Blade Barrage to kill an enemy roaming super, that's a 1-2 trade. Awesome. If they Blade Barrage to kill just one enemy guardian, not in their super, it was a trade. The reason I rate heavies as 1.1 is because there's only one on the field. If your team is able to secure it, then the enemy team no longer has it. If your team uses a super to push the enemy team off heavy but doesn't get a kill, honestly, I think that's a good trade, because your super can still regen while your enemy no longer has access to heavy. Also, from a matchup perspective, if someone were to have a seismic strike versus a play of the game, I would slightly weigh the heavy as more likely to come out on top. Let's talk about the other side as well. If for whatever reason you're caught in a 1v2 and you can't escape, what's the best outcome? The best outcome is you coming in for that clutch and getting those 2 kills and surviving, of course. But the second best outcome is for you to trade. If you trade in a 1v2 and your teammate on the other side of the map is able to engage in a 2v1 and win without a trade, the next engagement is still a 2v1 in your team's favor. If you trade a life but is able to kill the enemy with heavy, even better. If you die with your heavy ammo unused so that they pick it up, that's pretty bad. Now let's talk ranges. You have 2 teammates running shotguns and it's indoors close quarters versus 2 other guardians with longer range weapons. Push them, because you have a range advantage. Now, if you walk into a room and get surprised by a shot, even if it's a 1v1, I recommend you back out, because they have surprise in their favor. Now, if you go into a room and get surprised, but you have heavy ammo, chances are you'll still come out on top. Some important notes. You want to always engage with team advantage. More advantage equals more aggressive plays. If you get caught with your pants down, go for a trade. You want to use your super to get at least 2 kills, kill an enemy super, or secure heavy ammo. You want to fight with range advantage, and if possible, get the jump on the enemy guardians in some way. Securing heavy is like having an extra guardian with you. Unless you're walking into a 1v3, you are most likely to come out on top. Try to always secure heavy. It spawns at 60 seconds. If you think about team advantage and disadvantages, you will know exactly what plays to make next. The better your team coordinates, the better your team plays will be. But even in the solo playlist, if you follow a teammate around and consistently fight 2v1, you will win matches consistently. Next is Loadout Scouting. Look at your enemy loadouts before a match starts. If you know what they are rocking, then you know how to engage them. If you're in a fire team, I recommend you have one person always calling out what the enemy loadouts are. Next thing we have to talk about is win conditions. There is another layer of strategy over the individual engagements, like in a team advantage situation. The easiest way to win is to slay out, of course. If everyone on your team is rocking a healthy 3.0 KD, honestly, you're going to win the match no matter what kind of shenanigans your opponents pull out. Now, if it's in a closer match, then the team that consistently pulls heavy and is able to fight in their ideal ranges is going to win, because they have that advantage. In survival, another way to win the round is with life advantage. When that timer is up, even if they pop 2 supers and are chasing you down with heavy ammo, If you have life advantage, you automatically win the round. I'll go into some specific strategies later on in the video. Zone control. Every map has choke points and positions that are more advantageous than others. I'll go into detail in another post. You can look up specific map on sites like Crucible Wiki, link below. Also, when life is even, when the timer is up, a tiebreaker objective point will spawn. Every map spawns the tiebreaker in the exact same spot every single time. In a 3v3, it doesn't matter if you just kill 2 enemy guardians and have a 3-1 advantage. If the remaining guardian AFKs on the capture point and completes the capture, they win the round. Important note: heavy ammo can spawn after the tiebreaker objective spawns. Sometimes it's a better play to secure a heavy and then push tiebreaker than it is to camp the tiebreaker objective. Team communication. Best things to communicate: enemy loadout/class and actions. For example, one sniper hard scoping center lane. Shotgun Titan rushing us from the right. Locations. Each area has a callout. You can see it in the upper left under your radar. For example, you can say 2 enemies at stairs heading towards B. This gives your team the ability to ambush them, secure heavy safely, or make an aggressive play on an enemy guardian at point A. They can push the enemy guardian a lot more aggressively because now they know that the 2 enemy guardians are not there. Another great thing to call out is heavy ammo timer. For example, heavy in 10 seconds. We need to contest it now. My flanking guide. The rule of thumb is flanking only works if you have the element of surprise. You break away from your fire team and circle around deck to flank center. If the enemy team knows that you are coming, then guess what? Good luck fighting 1v2 or 1v3. So the question is, how do you get the element of surprise? By sliding and crouching, disengaging from the enemy radar, breaking line of sight. You can learn more about radar awareness and mechanics in part 1 of this series, linked to the timestamp below. The goal of a flank is to create team advantage, whether it's creating a range advantage, surprising enemies, or even pulling enemies away to create a favorable matchup for your team. Yes, you can flank and wipe out the entire enemy team. However, even if you are just able to draw the attention towards you while staying alive, you might just tip the balance of power towards your team. Next is unique and specific tactics. Some of these people might consider cheap, but I've seen it work even in very, very high level comp. The first one I want to share is run and play life. This works better the less time on the clock. If your team has life advantage, if your team is able to outrun the enemy team and maintain that life advantage, then your team wins the round, no matter if they pop super, secured heavy, or are chasing you down. I would say that this strategy is really viable if the timer is less than 30 seconds. Anything more than that, and it's possible that your team runs but gets collapsed on by the enemy team. Emoting corners. If you notice that you get sniped often, you can use emotes to peek corners. This is also helpful in a 1v1 to know which way the enemy guardian is moving towards. A good rule of thumb is that if you're about to cross a lane, imagine there is someone always hard scoping it. Next is fly like an eagle. If you are last guardian standing and the enemy is winning the round by a wide margin, for example 1v3 with 2 in reserves for them, sometimes it's better for you to jump off the map or somehow kill yourself so the enemy team is not regenerating 3 supers while they wait out the clock. This is named after my friend Eagle, who has misjudged jumps multiple times in comp as the last guardian standing in a 1v1. Next is shark bait oohaha. Well, we talk about flying off the map. When being chased by a melee super, you can jump off the map to bait them into a trade, Or, depending on your jump, it's possible to bait the super to their death and then for you to safely jump back onto the map. With this move, expect to die more often than not. The juke job. Triggering a camping enemy's radar and backpedaling rapidly to bait them into a clear line of sight. This works really well at higher levels of comp and higher levels of play where people are constantly watching their radar. This is even better if you know that they are camping with a shotgun. This is a tribute to my friend Juke, who absolutely refuses to play comp, and if ever baited in such a fashion will likely break his own computer. Next is one of my favorites, the low and slow. This is a very annoying move that works on any hunter class, but works especially well on bottom tree Arc Strider. There is a moment when dodging that will completely neutralize a Titan's shoulder charge, shield bash, or hammer strike. You can see it in action in the clip above. Pulling this off requires precise timing. However, when executed correctly, it will proc the melee's ability. They will then hear a specific audio cue and see a visual cue, and then the hunter will break line of sight. This move will do a few things. 1, it will waste a Titan's melee ability. 2, give the hunter ample time to double melee the very confused Titan. 3, make the charging Titan tilt hard as fuck. But enormous props to my man Justin, Low and Slow DC5, for making it work consistently in live matches. Sometimes the enemy Titan will just stop moving entirely due to the Titan brain being unable to comprehend what just happened. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe really helps me out. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Part 4 will cover weapon ranges and how to always win your 1v1s. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2 already, links are provided below. See you next time.